Hello everyone, this is Grixon, and I've got a frost DPS I wanted to do. Actually, I've already did it, but you know what I mean. So, I'm not very good at blood. I'm not very good at the game in general, but I'm worse at frost. I'm going to attempt to show this 20 key and then explain my thought process with frost. And if you're way better at frost, please leave a comment. So I'm running Biting Cold for my legendary, which makes it so my Remorseless Winter does a bunch more damage, and when my Remorseless Winter hits 3 targets, I gain Rhyme, which lets me get a free Howling Blast off. So I don't have the Champion of the Frozen Waste legendary for this. If I did, I'd be able to have longer Breath of Syndragosa. Don't have that one, haven't been able to farm it, so I run this, and then I try and use Swarming Mist to give me runic power to make my Breath of Syndragosa go longer. So it's kind of like my, ghetto version. So here we're just talking about who's going to be doing what lusts, what spears. And so the name of the game with Frost is how many strength procs can you stack up during your breath window or during your dragon window? And then the mini game with Biting Cold is how many times can you keep Remorseless Winter ticking? Because every time you use an Obliterate or a Howling Blast, it ups the time on your Remorseless Winter, so you can keep it at max damage as long as possible. If you add a Pillar of Frost to that, that's a lot more strength, which means a lot more damage. So we're going to start the key. This is a 20. This is a few weeks back. My buddy is tanking. He's playing Bear. This was a Necrotic week, and as you know, for Blood DK, Necrotic is not so great. I really dislike it. There's a guy I watch actually who is a DK, does not mind Necrotic. I can link his channel. He's way better editing than I am. Okay, so we're going to get our Rhymes out, we're going to get our Obliterates out, and then we're going to do Breath of Syndragosa right away. Once our Pillar is pretty far in, we Dragon. Boom. We do as much damage as we possibly can there. We still have Breath going, so we're going to try and just milk that as much as possible. Just converting runic power, or converting runes as much as we can into runic power. So that guy Livelock, he's new to DK, but he's very good, and also he's really good at editing. He's far better than I'll ever be at that. So he's definitely someone to look out for. So Frost DPS is a lot like, a lot of DPS is going this way, but Frost DPS is a little bit feast or famine. You don't do a whole lot of damage outside of your cooldown windows, outside of your breath, or outside of your dragon. You can somewhat help that with Pillar of Frost, with Remorseless Winter, to try and help that, but the more you can stack, the better. And also your Chains of Ice, your Cold Heart stacks, if you can stack that with any strength gains too, it's all good stuff. It's all helpful. So Frost DPS is kind of king at cleave, especially when you're running Biting Cold. It's very good at cleave, not so great at single target unless you have Breath of Syndragosa up and you're running Champion of the Frozen Wastes. Our mage here does something that's kind of cool, I haven't seen much of. He Frost Novas, grabs the weapon, and then invises to reset aggro. So we can get that hammer. It's pretty nice. So I'm able to do a crap ton of damage on this boss after this, and I'll let you see why. Pretty much the Anima Exhaust mixed with like pulling so much. The tougher you can pull The more your tank can pull, the more Frost will excel, especially in a breath window, Pillar of Frost window, all, as many cooldowns as possible. So when you're playing Frost and you're playing specifically Breath of Sindragosa, you need to make a macro for Breath of Sindragosa, and it's kind of generally good to put Pillar of Frost in that macro. Empower Rune Weapon, the one that gives you haste, and you need to put in the macro that does not cancel your breath, because if you spam breath twice, you'll turn it on and you'll turn it off. It is cancelable, so you kind of never want to do that. So you need to, it's very good to put that in your macro to not cancel it. So here we get our buff. Did I grab it? I did grab it, right? Yeah, I grabbed it. Okay. So I'm letting him pick up what he can, and I'm going to start rhyme, obliterate, and then, start my breath window. And I see here he pulls in more. So I'm waiting for that. Let my pillar get big, and then slam. 66k during that dragon. It was a huge dragon near the end of my pillar. Your strength is the highest at the end of the Pillar of Frost, so if you can hold it, the better. Now I'm just trying to keep Breath of Sindragosa going as long as I can, combined with Anima Exhaust. And it just meant so much damage there. I think I even used a potion there too for strength on top of that pillar window, because Pillar of Frost gives you percentage strength. I think at the end of its window, at the end of Pillar of Frost, I think it gives you about 15% increased strength. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, other Frost DKs. I can't remember if it's 10% or 15%. I'm pretty sure it's 15%. Because this week is a spiteful week, I am using the talent that makes it so my auto attacks, 40% of my auto attack damage gives me shield. Very good for spiteful. If you get a hit from a spiteful, you can pretty much tank one of the hits and be fine. After this video is recorded, I added a weak aura to show me when my decanter of Endless Howling procced, so I can kind of stack the strength buffs better. In this video I hadn't made it yet. It's also worth noting on the right here that if you're going to be playing a breath build, you need to really get your stat distribution in order, because you want your IQD to give you a 50-50 chance of mastery and crit, and you want to have more mastery than crit, because when lust happens, it'll 100% be mastery. Mastery straight buffs your frost damage, and almost all of your attacks are frost damage. And then your next that you want is to be crit, because crit is very valuable. See, if you see my stat, that's pretty high mastery, and then crit to follow. So I'm letting him stack up what he can here. I think I used a dragon here. Yes, I did. You can AMZ this so you don't take the damage, or very little of it. We still have the buff going for 25 seconds, so we're going to try and make use of it. So there's a very good strategy you can do here for this skip. A lot of people like to skip this next trash pack, and you can do it perfectly fine as Venthyr with a teleport. You don't need to waste a invis potion for it. So just remembering your little mini game there is trying to keep Remorseless Winter up as much as possible, because you have Gathering Storm as a talent, which increases Remorseless Winter's damage by 10%. So you can come here, and you can just teleport across. It's a good skip. They wanted to go back for the hammer and have someone die, and I was like, I don't think it's really that important. I think I commit breath here. Yeah, I did, because I wanted to make sure that these guys die in one shield, not more. So if you kill them when their shield is up, they'll just insta-die. So as you see, I'm in a pump phase right here, because I really wanted to make sure that that went through. I could have padded the score here with this Necro. I just didn't want to screw us over here. Like, yeah, it would have looked better on damage to have breath going now, but, and it could have been better if I had enough runic power to convert that breath into Sokonon. I just really wanted to make sure that we didn't get a second shield window on those first guys. I'm not even sure if he grabs it. It's been a few weeks now. And actually, I did this video. So, a lot of you probably know my daughter sleeps when I do voiceovers and when I game. And her room is right above me. So I always have to whisper. I always have to do this kind of like late night smooth jazz voice. And I actually recorded this last week. Like I did the voiceover for it last week, and I was talking normally. You guys would have been able to hear me normal. But I didn't hit the damn record button. I didn't record the audio. I did the whole freaking video and I didn't hit record. Not my smartest move at all. Also, there's a weak aura I got where you can preset which anima powers you want to get. So when you right click, it just picks it for you right away. It's very helpful. I can link that in the video along with Livelock's channel. So this is a good strat if you can get that Kyrian ability with the orb from the environment. You gotta make sure you kick this to bring it along. But if you can do that, get all this together, use the orb and the anima exhaust, look at our tank's damage. It's insane. Like, I committed so many cooldowns to this thinking it was gonna take a long time, and everything was dead within seconds. Our bear did Incarn, just thrashing like crazy, and he had anima exhaust from the Kyrian Goliath, and he also had the orb from the environment. All that together is so much damage. If you can do that, do it. It is so much value. Just trying to kick what I can. If I really wanted to, I could have mind controlled one of those mages. We're taking some hits here. Again, we can AMZ that Grim Fate. It died before the damage resolved, but it is a great option there. It's just DK utility isn't heavily desired anymore, but it's still there. It's still useful. Just gotta remember to use it. I think recording it kicks here. I think it's just me and the tank swapping kicks back and forth. Because the people in comms are the tank, the mage, and me. So if I really wanted to go full on Frost DPS as like a main, I would have to, I'd probably swap to Necrolord, especially with what's happening in 9.1.5. The Abomination Limb is not going to be capped to 5 targets, so it'll help out a lot more with that AoE threat. But it is a long cooldown, so I don't know how much it'll make a huge difference, but the strength gains you get and the mastery gains you get from the soulbinds are very good. But I like Venthyr a lot for tanking, and tanking is my main. This is just something I do when someone else is tanking and for fun. It's kind of cool tanking so much and then looking at the fight through a tank's eyes and DPSing. I feel like I'm so much better at DPS because I'm thinking more like a tank of how the pulls will be set up and where I need to stand. Knowing the mechanics very well. I think on the next set of ads I dragon. It's probably not good to just dragon the boss. He told me to spear there. I got the dragon out kind of early because things were dying. Setup could have been better for sure. Again, just making sure everything's... I should have gripped that one instead. Ooh, big hits, those not being kicked. Even on a tyrannical. Well, I guess that's why they hit so hard. Yeah, our mage made a mistake. He lusted when we still were sated. So up here, somebody in Discord wants me to like stream in Discord the fight because he just showed up and you want to see it. So I will move to my desktop here in a minute. So I thought he was going to set up a big pull with the orb, but I think he actually makes better use of it. He clears a lot of this stuff first, then he does the big pat. So I think he comes over to the side, kills this stuff, and then... yes, that pat he's going to take into the left with orb. But he's going to clear this whole like side first. So I commit a breath here. I think I just wanted to make sure that LT went down, but I don't think it was the right call. Also, if you get hit by that AoE ability by him, you can AMZ it and just get rid of it. Especially as a melee DPS, you don't want everybody else getting hit by that. So I should have saved the cooldown, but I still did like the lowest damage even with using a breath there. So I won't have breath for this big fight, and I won't have Pillar Frost up. So I was running Nadia, so my teleport disorients. Just buy him a couple extra seconds before more necrotic stacks. Yeah, so big blunder there. I dragoned before Pillar Frost even started. That was a big mess up on my part. And you could tell by the meters how much I messed up. So Frost DPS is not a meta pick, and you have to work twice as hard to put out that damage. You can do it. The kit can do it, but you need to be very smart. You need to work very hard to get it done. So again, just keep playing that mini game of trying to keep Remorseless Winter going as much as I can. It's tricky. See, I breathed here when I shouldn't have. It was almost over. Not a good idea. But if you sit on breath, then you're just wasting it too, right? Because if you sit on it too long, then you just waste a whole breath window. Oh, see, yep, there you go. Oh, what's funny is I don't even think he kept watching mine. I think he went to, I think he watched the mages instead, so it was like for nothing. So I will switch to the desktop again in a little bit to turn it off. Because usually when I'm recording locally, I don't want, to stream on Discord and just have it taxed twice. Oh, also in my Breath of Sindragosa build, my macro, I also put my IQD in there as well. And I've got that little weak ore that tells me what it'll be. Right there it says it's a 50-50 chance between mastery or crit. And when lust happens, it'll be 100% chance of mastery. So if you do your breath window during a lust, you'll get a big bump to your mastery. Make sure if you're melee DPS to dodge that gore slice. I think I get hit by it once and dodge the second time. That one. Do I breath again while chasing? Oh my god, I did. I guess I was afraid for our tank, so I try to burn what cooldowns I can, and I committed a dragon to it. My cooldowns will be up, I think, for the boss, but still, like, my moves are not that smart. My moves are weak. And if Frost was my main, I think I'd be I'd have better foresight about these things, but again, trying to teleport in, disorient, try and help out. So I have nothing but Remorseless Winter, and so I'm just going to try and keep it up as much as I can. So I have 10 of Gathering Storm right now, and as you can see, my Gathering Storm is going to run out right when this does. If I pop it if I would have popped it at the exact second, I probably would have kept it. But misplay on my part. I used a Rhyme proc instead, when it would have been far more valuable to use that Gathering Storm. Like, to keep that 10 stack rolling. The more you can do that, the better. You'll just have so much more damage, because with the Biting Cold Legendary, you will be Remorseless Winter will be your top damage. I think I do it right here again. Oh, maybe I don't. Maybe it's after this boss I do it. As you can see, we're really good on time. Just a lot of smart plays led up here, and damage is pretty good. Even with my misplays, damage is still really good. I think my overall damage in this dungeon is like 10.7. It could have easily been like 11.5 if I didn't make some of the small mistakes I did. I let my breath window run out right there too. Champion of the Frozen Waste Legendary is much better with that because your Rhyme procs give you runic power, which extends breath like crazy. When you're playing Vent Theory, you have to really use Swarming Mist when you're near the end of your runes and your runic power is starting to decay a lot. Right here, my wife started talking to me, so I looked away. And I was just like hoping the arrow would, the chain would hit him. Yeah, I don't know what he did there. Got a Pillar of Frost window coming up. Gonna try and use it with a second. Yeah, I used it at the very last second to try and squeeze out all the juice, Got rocky there, but we pulled it through. Our only 2 deaths were during that fight. Yep. Then I skip through again to turn off the Discord. Some chatting, and then we start pulling. So I do my cooldowns pretty quickly because you got lasso. Oh, earlier I'd used it and it healed the mage, so I didn't have it for here. That was a big mistake. Having so much more mastery is way more valuable. My damage would have been considerably higher. So it's good to rewatch your old gameplay and analyze what you did wrong to get better. You always want to try and keep improving. So I should have ran out right there instead of making them all run. But the rest of this fight is pretty typical. We have a few deaths. This place is not so great for DK, just because we're super slow, especially because I did not take the Wraith Walk. I preferred the shield for a Spiteful Week. So just make sure when you come up here, don't drop the puddle somewhere bad. Great spot to drop it, actually, right there. Yeah, warriors. I think the warrior actually leaped during the Dark Exile because he figured it would be dead. I don't think we even have a battle res for him. Okay, he got one. I think he uses a hammer. Yeah, looks like he did. Yeah, so we did 10.7k overall. Definitely not bad. It could have been way better. As an off spec, definitely not bad. Remorseless winner, top damage by a good margin. If I had the champion in the Frozen Waste legendary, it would have been Breath as my top. Thanks for watching. I'll try and put up more Frost DK videos when I can. But obviously my focus will be Blood. Alright, see you guys in the next one.